friends. It's Rebecca from New Creation Fellowship Church. Today you've already heard a reading from Psalm 31. Psalms are a book of the Bible that have a lot of poems and maybe even songs in them. I want to talk about one of my favorite Bible verses, which is Psalm 31:3. Here's one way it's translated. "Want God to be my strong rock, a castle to keep me safe, for you are my crag and my stronghold." You probably know what a rock is. Probably know what a castle is, but maybe not a crag and a stronghold. But how can God be like a rock or a castle or a crag or a stronghold? I think the writer of this verse meant that God was like a mountain, a huge rock. We can go into the mountains to run away from danger and hide. Have you ever heard someone say in a movie, "Run for the hills"? They mean run into the mountains because it's easier to hide there from danger than it is on the plains, because the mountains are full of twists and turns and little hiding spots. This picture is from one of my favorite mountains, the Grand Tetons in Wyoming, and I took this picture, I think in fall of 2018. It's really, really pretty. This is right on the Wyoming and Montana border. And these mountains are really sharp at the top. I think they're really pretty. Another way Psalm 31 talks about God is as a castle. Even if you haven't seen a castle in real life, maybe you've seen one in a movie. Castles are also places that are protected. Even if the wind blows you really hard or if it hails, you're safe when you're inside a castle. I think this verse means that God keeps us safe, just like living in a castle would keep us safe. This castle is Neuschwanstein Castle. It means Swan Castle in Germany. I haven't been here, but I bet somebody at our church has been. And when you go into this castle, there's a lot of different emblems and banners that have pictures of swans on it, since it's named Swan Castle. If you've been to Disney World and seen Cinderella's castle there, this is the castle it's modeled on. Or if you've ever seen a Disney movie come on, there's a Cinderella's castle is on the Disney logo. That's named after this castle too. But I think some of the newer Disney movies have the castle from Frozen instead. Psalm 31 also talks about how God is like a crag. This might not be a word that you know at all. A crag is a steep or rugged cliff. It's very hard to climb up a crag. So if you're on top of a crag, you're safe from dangers down below because they can't get to you. These pictures are from my friend Brad. And he took them at the Little Jerusalem Badlands State Park. And I know some people in our church have been there, so you can ask friends at church next time you get to see them if they've ever been there. This is not in our part of Kansas. This is kind of more north and towards Nebraska. But you can see all the really cool rock formations that are there. The last way Psalm 31 talks about God is as a stronghold. A stronghold is a place where people have built, so it's very hard for anyone else to get into. They're fortified. That means there's lots of measures, lots of things that they build to protect them from other people coming into them. This photo, I didn't take this photo, but I have been to this place. This is Meteora, Greece, and it's in Thessaloniki, Greece, in the northern part of Greece. And you can see here, there are huge, huge rocks. And sometimes people do free climb them. That means they climb them like without ropes or anchors. And sometimes you'll see even little goats up here. And at the top of these huge rocks are a series of monasteries. So here's one, but look way in the background, here's one too. And monks and nuns live there. and they spend their days worshiping God, learning about God, thinking about God. These are Greek Orthodox monks and nuns. So they're not a part of the Mennonite tradition, but they're a different kind of Christianity. And now there are roads to get up there. But when they were built, it's still difficult to get up there. It's still quite difficult. It's a long path, and even eventually the road stops and you have to walk a long way up a lot of steps to get there. But they have baskets that hang over the edge of these, out these windows, and they'd have really, 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 really off the page long ropes that would go down, and they would bring things up and down in the basket to get goods up and down. The few things that maybe the monastery couldn't need, like if they needed medicine or something like that. But otherwise, they have like their own gardens and goats for milk and things like that there to be self-sufficient. So these would be very hard to get to. They're built that way so that they couldn't be attacked, and so that people, the monks and the nuns, when they were there, would be left alone because they needed the quiet time to go into worship. They didn't want to be interrupted. So they built these strongholds in places that were hard to reach so they could on purpose, kind of be isolated. I love this Bible verse because I can see in nature every day things that remind me of God. I can't see a castle every day. I can't see maybe a stronghold or a crag every day either. But every day I get to see rocks. And when I see them, I'm reminded that God is strong like a rock. And that when I stand where God is, I feel safe. That God keeps me safe and protected. And that these are things that don't move. God isn't blown around, right? That these are things that the weather can't change. They're very stable things. And that God is very stable and enduring, long-lasting. And those are qualities that make me feel safe when I think about God. Well, if you have something in your life that reminds you of some quality of God, like God's enduring nature or God's steadfastness, that means it stays steady. That's a confusing word because fast makes it sound like God is moving, but steadfast actually means stays steady. Here, fast means like fastened, is like locked down. If you have something in your life, maybe an object or something from your yard or something from your house that reminds you of God, I would love to hear about it. So if you have a grown-up in your house, you can ask them to take a picture of it and they could share it on our church Facebook page, or you can text it to me, or you could put it in a letter and send it to the church, and I would love to hear about it. I hope you liked looking at these pictures today.